Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. First things first. I'll be gone for about 3 days on a hunting trip. Not that kind of hunting trip, but you know, the one with a scope. Not that one. I'm gonna go hunting, basically. The rifle season starts tomorrow on the 15th of November. So I'll be going with some friends in a hunting camp. Beautiful, but I will see if I can make any videos while I'm sleeping, waiting for the targets to appear. So what do we have here? We have a lot of information coming from Ukraine and Poland, Russia. Let's start with the beginning, and that is an article coming from Ukrainska Pravda, which reports that the Russians entered Kupiansk in Kharkiv Oblast. Now that's a big achievement, but we have some others saying actually no, they didn't, and that is the Ukrainian general staff. So let's go and get into this. Ukrainska Pravda. Russians occupy Ilinka in Donetsk Oblast and enter Kupiansk in Kharkiv Oblast. So this is, I will show you a lot of maps here. This is Kharkov, this is Kupiansk. Here's where the Russians, according to DeepState, entered the city of Kupiansk. Where is that located? Here. Kupiansk is in Kharkov Oblast, in this area in the far east of Ukraine. Now, if that's true, that's a big achievement for the Russians, and if they didn't enter yet, I would think that they will definitely be able to enter in the near future. Right here, Kupiansk, this is where the Russians are located. Or we have another map here. No, we don't want that. Right here, this is Kupiansk, and this is where the Russian forces are, by Kupiansk. I think Kupiansk is doomed, let's put it this way. And where is Ilinka? Here it is. Ilinka is towards Pokrovsk. Right, so that's Ilinka, over this Vovcha reservoir or river that the Ukrainians said that the Russians will try to destroy the dam. So they, flood the Ukrainian defenses. And I'm going to show you a different map. Pokrovsk is a little bit northwest of this, is right here, Pokrovsk. This is the area. Let me go on to the other map. So we go from Kharkov, we go to the Donetsk Oblast, right here where my strong hand is. And this is Pokrovsk or Krasnoarmeysk. This is how the Russians call Pokrovsk. And then here is what I showed you, the little Ilinka. Right here is the reservoir that I showed you. The Ilinka is right on top of it. So let's see what these guys are saying in this article. This article comes from November 14th at 2 a.m. We're going to have another one, another article that's going to deny this or going to have a different wording. The DeepState Analytical Project has updated its map on the night of 13 to 14 November, reporting new successful advances by the Russians in Ukraine's east, with Russian troops reportedly capturing Ilinka and entering Kupiansk. And I'm quoting, the enemy has captured Illinka and has also advanced in Dalnie, near Novodonetsk, Trudovye and Kupiansk. Two enemy convoys of equipment advanced from the area of Liman, Pershi towards Kupiansk on the road of Svatove in the afternoon. The first convoy included 2 MTLB armored fighting vehicles, an infantry fighting vehicle and a tank. Big invasion. While the exact composition of the second convoy remains unknown as it moved when it was already dark. So this is what the Deep State says. So that's the first one. The next one, we have this article coming from the New Voice of Ukraine. Russian forces capture Ilinka in Donetsk Oblast and push forward near Kupiansk. And they show us the same kind of map right here. And then they show us Ilinka right here by the little reservoir, the river. So this is according to the New Voice of Ukraine. The Russian forces have recently advanced southeast southeast of Kupiansk and west of Svatove amid continued offensive operations along the Kupiansk-Svatove-Kremina line. So they say southeast of Kupiansk. So southeast of Kupiansk, if I'm going to go there, and I will go there, is not, this is right here. So they're pushing southeast. This is southeast of Kupiansk. This is Kupiansk right here. So it's not about these guys advancing here, but it's these guys coming from southeast, coming northwest. All right, next one. Ukrainska Pravda. Now this is from 11:23 today. The other one is was at 2 a.m. Remember the first article? That was 2 a.m. today. And these guys come from the same guys at 11:23. And this is what they say. I mean, they're not idiots to say, yeah, we're losing or anything. Ukraine's general staff says Russian forces didn't enter Kupiansk or occupy Ilinka. And again, they show us advancing from there and then advancing from here, from the southeast and northeast. Well, it's just a matter of time, I think. And if they didn't occupy or they didn't enter, it's just a matter of time. That, I think, will happen. So, the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine has said that Russian occupation forces were not able to enter the city of Kupiansk in Kharkiv Oblast and that the Ukrainian Defense Forces still control the city. They didn't say they occupy the city, and maybe they are just at the enemy at the gate. Okay, we have a Mr. Kovalov, a spokesman for the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, says in a comment for Ukrinform, all of the Russian occupiers' attacks on this front have been successfully repelled. The Russian invaders were not able to enter Kupiansk. The city remains under the Ukrainian Armed Forces control. Okay, well, we find out. I think by tomorrow, I guarantee you these guys with the General Staff will say, yeah, they occupied it. Next topic, Sputnik. Russian forces liberate Voznesenka, target Ukrainian military infrastructure. Okay, where's Voznesenka? Ram pam pam. That is right north of, again, Vocha River. Remember, this is Selidove is north here, and then you have Pokrovsk here. And on the big scheme of things, I'm going to go to this map, which is one of the clearest map that I can find. I mean, I like working with it, is north of this. So it's probably where this little thing is, because they're not going to show us. So they're going to encircle the troops here, going to come here, and they don't have to blow anything up. All right, let's see what else these Russians are saying. The Russian Ministry of Defense, MOD, reported that the Center battle group pushed deeper into Ukrainian defenses and took control of the settlements of Voznesenka in the Donetsk People's Republic. Got that? Well, true, not true? Now, air defense intercepted 6 HIMARS rockets and downed 78 drones. The Russian army also launched strikes on Ukrainian airfields and energy facilities which supply the defense industry. Good. Next one. Ukraine could have nuclear weapons in the months, report says. So what do you think about that one? Well, I tell you that the Americans, that the Westerners will not allow them to have it. Unless the Americans will operate it and they're going to say, it was the Ukrainians, it was not us. A government research center has claimed that the country has enough plutonium to build hundreds of crude warheads. Ukraine could feasibly raid the country's nuclear reactors to develop crude atomic weapons if the US cuts off military aid. A briefing paper prepared for the Ministry of Defense has advised. Why? Because there's no smoke without a fire. The Times reported on Wednesday that the authors of the National Institute for Strategic Studies believe, and I'm quoting, creating a simple atomic bomb, as the United States did within the framework of the Manhattan Project, would not be a difficult task 80 years later. Published by the Center for Army Convention and Disarmament Studies, the report claims that, and I'm quoting, creating a simple atomic bomb, as the United States did within the framework of the Manhattan Project, would not be a difficult task 80 years later. All right, well, they probably will do it. What do you think? While the Ukrainian Fat Man would only be a tenth as powerful as the device that leveled Nagasaki, the amount of plutonium in the country's reactors is sufficient for hundreds of warheads with tactical yield of several kilotons. So what do you think, my friends? This would be enough to destroy an entire Russian air base or concentrated military, industrial, or logistical installations. Their exact nuclear yield would be unpredictable because it would use different isotopes of plutonium. Author Alexei Izhak explained. Okay. What do you think the Russians will do? They will give up entirely. But we have another article. So this is a study. Remember, that's how you put your foot in the door. First things first. And then we have this little article from Russia Today. Ukraine denies planning to develop nuclear weapons. Well, it was not about planning to develop. It was something like this. Could have if it wants. If the Americans cut, that's what I say, if the Americans cut the military aid right here. So we could, but we deny we're planning. It's two different things, being able and planning to do it. I could, that guy over there, but am I planning? There's two different stories. I could do a lot of things. It doesn't mean I'm planning to do it. So they're playing with fire, and the Americans will not let them. Once these guys are going to talk in Ukraine about, yeah, we could build a nuclear weapon or an atomic bomb, whatever, this guy's going to say, yeah, okay, time to go, time out, close for business, boom, and that's it. Next one. Look at the Russians. The Russians are ready to work with Trump administration. Russia ready to work with Trump administration. Sergei Lavrov, the Russian Federation's foreign minister, said right there. That is a diplomat for you. All right, 100%. Moscow is ready to work with the administration of US President-elect Donald Trump, and the ball is on Washington's side. And I'm quoting, Russian President Vladimir Putin told the Valdai Forum that he's always open for communication. We were not the ones who cut it off. The ball is on the other side. The objective of contacting China set by the US President Joe Biden administration will likely remain a priority for the Trump administration as well. It is a key priority for them, Lavrov said in an interview with Russian journalist Pap. So the Russian says, okay, you need to come over a little bit more humble. And then we're gonna talk. I guarantee you this will be the requirements for Ukraine. There's gonna be no NATO. We are going to control it since we are in it halfway. We're not gonna turn back. Ukraine is not gonna have a military. And if it's gonna have a military, we, the Russians, will be in charge of it, not you. NATO will push back and take it easy. Denazification, that means they're going to destroy some Bandera monuments and street names, and not only. And basically Ukraine will be a non-state under the Russian jurisdiction, like I think it's South Ossetia and Abkhazia at this point. No, the Russians have peacekeeping forces on it. Now, will the Americans agree with that or to that? No, they will not. But what are they going to do? The other option is to fight the Russians. I don't think Trump will fight the Russians. The Russians will have no patience anymore. So we'll see. I think the Russians will achieve all these goals, and Trump has no aces in his little sleeve to say, oh, I'm going to do this to you. Or what? Or what? Sanctions? Where? And the Russians are already developing an alternative to the plantation, Al Capone's plantation. So let's see how Poland is challenging and is threatening Russia. Remember, if a rape is a rape in the case of Gigi, a rape is a rape in the case of one of your relatives or my relatives. So the act is the same regardless who does it. Do you remember when the Russians brought their troops on their territory across from Donbass? Remember what NATO, the United States of America, all these guys, the newspaper, the operatives were saying about the Russians? Pull back your troops. No, that's a provocation. You're an escalation, remember? Now look what the Poles are doing. Remember, Poland is not at war with Russia. Here, Ukrainska Pravda. Poland deploys South Korean supplied K2 tanks near border with Russia. Now, I want to hear now all the media saying, Poland, pull back your weapons from the border with Russia. That is an escalation. No, they're not going to look at it that way. We have to in self-defense and self-interest, which is fantastic. But if that works for you, Poland, I think it should also work for Romania, for Albania, for Russia. No? Unless you want to Russia up. So, my friends, I'm talking about a little bit of consistency. If you pretend that we are just and objective. Where is that? Obviously by Kaliningrad. I'm going to show you a map. Major Magdalena, oh, fuck me, Freddy. Oh, okay, she's just a spokeswoman. Kosinska, spokeswoman for Poland's 16th Pomeranian Mechanized Division, has announced that Poland has deployed South Korean supplied K2 tanks manufactured by Hyundai Rotem a few kilometers from Russia's Kaliningrad Oblast. That's an escalation. That is not good. It's a provocation. So, the next step will be to equip the tanks with systems used in the Polish military, including communications equipment. She's Kosinska. Alright, so my friends, who's doing what? Here is the map of Europe. Poland is here in green, Russia is here in pink or whatever that is. Russia is right here. This is Kaliningrad. So the Poles who have balls place some here on the southern border of Russia. Now, when the Russians did that to Ukraine, remember, before this garbage in Ukraine really went all the way, right here, oh my God, don't do this, this is a provocation. Well, I want to hear the same good people of the free world say the same thing. 3, 2, 1, 0. Crickets, crickets, crickets. Why? Because these guys are operatives. They're not media. And where are the analysts? Where are the experts? Where are those guys? No. So I'm sorry, Russia is not even at war with Poland. Where at that point the Ukrainians from Kiev were killing Russian nationals, ethnic Russians inside Ukraine with tanks, with their military. So I don't remember the Russians really going and doing anything like that. The only 2 Poles that were killed in this war were those by the Ukrainians. The Ukrainians S-200, if I remember correctly, flew into Poland and killed those guys. Yeah, let's go. Remember? Not the Russians, but nevertheless, they want to hit the Russian missiles, not the Ukrainian missiles. Why? Again, consistency. Consistency. Now, you don't like that? Well, these are facts. You don't like the facts? Nobody gives a shit. And I know you like the facts because you're here with me in the minute. Klampa Tsampa, 18 minutes. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.